Hi and welcome to this Adobe Sign tutorial. In this tutorial we'll be pre-populating a document with data from a Google Sheet or a Excel sheet. I found it very hard at times to figure out how to do this. I actually had 2 remote sessions with Adobe, and after that I was able to figure it out. So I thought, hey, I'm going to make a video about it so other people know how to do this as well. So let's get started. I have prepared a very legal document here. No, it's actually really fake. As you can see, there's a bunch of bogus text with 3 fields, 3 access codes to fictitious vaults in my fictitious company. So that when the employee would actually sign this document, they would also see the 3 codes that are assigned to their name, so to speak. So these 3 fields will have to populate from the data in our sheet, and also the employee name will be automatically populated. And then in Adobe Sign we can add our signature field and send the document to the people who need to send it. Who need to sign it. So on the other hand, I've created a test sheet with only 2 contacts. I've blurred out these email addresses because of privacy, because they're actually my own email addresses. So I've created 2 names, and for each of the contacts 3 vault access codes. There's nothing special about this document except for one thing. This first column header needs to have this specific format. Because Adobe actually uses this column to pick up the email addresses and send it to those people, and the rest of the headers can be whatever you like as long as you use them in your text tags, which we'll come to in a bit. So the first thing we'll have to do is export this file, because we cannot use a Google Sheet or Excel sheet directly. So we'll have to export it to CSV. I'll get to what that means in a minute, but first we're going to export it. I'm just going to call it test. And second of all, we will need to actually export our document, because we can also not work directly from Google Docs. So we're going to export this one to PDF, because we want to be able to edit it afterwards with Adobe Acrobat. So I'm going to name this test contract. That's fine. Okay, then I'll jump to Finder real quick. And the nice thing about macOS is that it actually previews CSV files a little bit the same as a Excel sheet, but this is not actually the what you see if you open the file in a text editor, or a code editor, I have to say. So I'm going to do that now, and then you can actually see that it's just plain text that's in the file, and CSV actually stands for comma separated value. So basically each line is a entry in your database or whatever you use for it. And the first line has to be the header names, and the second line till the last line will be the data that corresponds to those header names. So the first field will always be the email address, and the second will always be the full name, and so on. So that is a CSV file. Next up, we're going to open the test contract in Adobe Acrobat, so we can actually start to customize the document so that Adobe Sign actually knows where to put fields and information. We're going to quickly jump over to the Adobe Sign text tag guides, because these are the text tags that are used to actually create the fields in Adobe Sign. And this is the syntax. So it consists of a couple of things. First of all, we have the required field, which is marked by an asterisk, and this can be used to actually make the field mandatory, so that the user has to fill it out before he or she can sign the document. Then the second field is a read-only field, and it's marked by an exclamation mark. Obviously, at least I think so, you cannot use these 2 in conjunction, because it's either required or read-only. If a field is read-only, you cannot enter any data into it, so that makes sense. The third field is actually a field name that you can choose to of your own liking. So as we did, we chose full name, Vault 1, Vault 2, and Vault 3. And then you have this ES identifier, which has a specific function. It has to be in there because else it won't work. And then there's your role, and there's a field type. So the role would be for who is this field intended, and the field type would be used to automatically put down like a text field or a checkbox or a radio button or any other type of field. But for now, we're just going to use the field name and, sorry about that, the field name and I think not even the identifier, because we don't really need that. At least that's how I figured out how it works. So for the access code Vault 1, we can just go ahead and edit this document and add a text. And these text tags actually have to reside within these curly braces, double curly braces that is. So because this access code field is pre-populated and we don't want the user to be able to edit it, we're going to start with an exclamation mark, because that tells us that we only have read-only access to this field. So we're going to start with exclamation mark, and then we're simply going to type Vault 1. And that actually refers back to our Vault column. So we're going to use the read-only field and the field name. And basically that's it. And now it should already work. So I'm just going to create two more for Vault 2 and Vault 3. Oh, there we go. And Vault 3. So with this we are done now. So what I could actually do is use that ES identifier and then follow it up with a signer recipient, so to speak, because that, or a role I mean. So what this would do is that this field would actually be assigned to the signer of the document. But because we don't want the signer to be able to edit this and we want to pre-populate this only and leave it at that, we don't really need this. So that's why we're good with only exclamation mark and the field name. So at last we have to add the employee name, which is also pretty simple because it's again within the curly braces the full name, which I didn't write without underscore, I think. No, I did write it without underscore, so that's cool. But because we want to make this field mandatory, we have to precede it by an asterisk. So now the user or the signer can actually not send the document before they fill this out. So that kind of makes sense. Okay, once we're done doing this, we can actually go ahead and save the PDF file. It'll add these 4 tags that we created in it. And then we can move along to Adobe Sign. And for this, I'm going to use the send in bulk with mega sign option, because I would like to send this document to, let's say, 50 or 100 people. And all those people will actually be in our Google Sheet. So we're going to click that and we're going to upload our CSV file. If all went well, you won't get any errors and it reads it. I found that when the first field isn't present or has a different formatting than this, I would actually get an error. So that's why it's very important that this says _ES _signer _email. Okay, next up we're gonna upload our document, which we've prepped beautifully. And it's gonna upload it, or it actually did already. And then we can click send now, and basically if everything went well, it would send it, but I'd like to review stuff and make some tiny customizations before we send it. So I'm gonna tick this box, preview position signatures or add form field. I'm gonna hit next. It's going to process the document. And now we can actually see that there are 3 fields, and 3 of them are actually, if we take a look at edit, are actually read-only, because we we put the exclamation mark in front of it, and so now it knows I can only show this field, but the user won't be able to edit it. And you can actually check if it went well. If you click the field at the top here, you'll see fault 1, fault 2, and fault 3. And here you'll see full name, so you can actually confirm that everything went well. I'm gonna make this one a little bit bigger to give the user a little bit space to see his or her own name. And then I'm gonna make these bigger as well, because we wanna make sure all the parts of the code, the access codes, are visible. And I'm gonna drag in a signature, because I wanna have the user sign the document, and that is automatically mandatory, as you can see. There's a couple other options that you can edit here, but basically when you go back to the documentation of Adobe, all these options can be automatically set using those text tags that we talked about earlier. And normally when we put the signer role after the name, it would actually be like this. But because, like I said before, we don't need anyone to sign this field, we can actually leave it at anyone, because it's read-only anyway, so nobody would be able to edit it. So yeah, that's it basically. We can now go ahead and send the document. So I'm gonna do that, and it'll submit it. There we go. Now if we go back to, if I go into my mailbox and I wait a while, an email should pop up with a sign request. There we go. So this is the document that I've been sent. I can click review and sign, and it'll open in a new tab with the codes that I assigned to Paul Johnson. And let's see if that is correct. So we have Paul Johnson at the top here. His first fault code is 342791. 342791. His second code is 273195. 273195. And his third code is 173248. 173248. So yeah, that's actually working as expected. So Paul can now go ahead and click the signature field, and he can actually draw a pretty signature. Wow, that is really beautiful. Okay, and he can put his name here, and he can click apply, and then he can click sign, and then he is done. He can go along with his day and other activities that are way more important than signing contracts. So yeah, when we go back to Adobe Sign and we click manage at the top here, we can actually see that we have a contract out for signature, and there should be one completed one here in the completed tab. Yeah, we can see that Paul Johnson has signed the contract, and we can actually open it or download it as PDF. Oh, I'm getting network errors. Oh, it's working. So I can see here that John made his beautiful little signature. So yeah, that's basically it. And once you received everything, you can, yeah, basically then you're done. So that was it. I hope this was a helpful video, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you. Bye bye.